All right, guys. So Biden is expected to ban menthol cigarettes. Yes, Biden is expected to ban menthol cigarettes for the wokest reason ever. Okay? And guys, quite honestly, outside of the capital gains tax increase proposal, this might be one of the silliest proposals I've seen from the Biden administration thus far. Okay, this right here is just a whole nother level of wokeness that I think really is probably gonna have the opposite effect of what is actually intended to do. Okay, because we know how banning things go, right? We went through this with alcohol prohibition, but here we go, big government dictator Biden overstepping boundaries once again in the name of saving black lives. So let's read more about Biden's proposal here. The Biden administration is expected to announce this week its intention to ban menthol cigarettes. Two people familiar with the plan told CBS News. The proposed ban on the mint-flavored cigarettes is likely to be announced on Thursday, according to an administration official, which is the day the Food and Drug Administration was ordered by a court to respond to a 2013 citizen petition advocating the ban. Public health organizations like the American Medical Association favor the move to ban menthols because of data showing these cigarettes disproportionately impact the health of racial minorities and young people. In total, approximately 20 million Americans smoke menthols, according to the FDA. Advocates of the ban told CBS News the decision about whether to move ahead with the ban was ultimately President Biden's. Banning menthol cigarettes has Democratic support in Congress too. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin and Representatives Roger Krishnamurthy and Bobby Rush recently argued the FDA has a duty to ban menthols. These failures to protect children, particularly African American children, from a path to addiction are inexcusable, they told the administration. All right, so I mean, that's all you really need to know. It's not going to take effect immediately, but they want to ban menthols because black people smoke menthol cigarettes, right? Because menthol cigarettes are disproportionately used by black people. I think 85% of black smokers use menthol cigarettes, 47% of Hispanic smokers use menthol cigarettes, and only 29% of white smokers use menthol cigarettes. So because, there's a disproportionate amount of black people that use menthol cigarettes, then, hey, you know what? You guys are not responsible enough. Big daddy government needs to come in and just ban it to keep you from using it. That's basically the argument here. And in my opinion, this is ridiculous, right? For a few reasons. One, you're stereotyping people, right? You're using a stereotype, a racist stereotype, to enforce public policy that I think is an overstep of government authority. Okay? Why is it that these authoritarians always want to ban things in the name of public health? Okay, we all know how bad cigarettes are, right? And banning a flavored cigarette in favor of protecting black people, how far are you actually going to go? Okay, because if that's the case, what, they going to ban Black and Miles next, right? They're going to ban wood tip blacks, right? Cigarillos. You going to ban blunt wraps? You going to ban Swisher Sweet? You going to ban White Owl flavored wraps, right? Like, again, I can go all day with this, right? Like 40 ounces. You going to ban 40 ounces? Crown Royal, okay? What about fast food? What about McDonald's, KFC, Popeyes, Burger King? Fast food causes a lot of people to become overweight and become obese, and ultimately leads to heart disease as well. Okay? That's not good. Are we going to ban that just because it's not good for people? Are we going to ban smokeless tobacco products like chewing tobacco or snuff or things like that? Because non-white Hispanics, right, they use those products more disproportionately than other races, right? What about them? Do they need protection from big government? So do we need to ban products that they primarily use to protect them? How far is this going to go? How far is this going to go? And, like I said, I feel bad for Newport. Newport might go out of business, right? If they ban menthols, because again, there's a stereotype that black people smoke Newport menthols, okay? And guys, I'm not defending cigarette companies or tobacco companies. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm making a freedom argument, right? And, and that's the thing about these people on the left, okay? They use racism to try to stop racism. When, in my opinion, it's like, well, how are you going to enforce this ban? If people have a menthol cigarette, what are you going to do? The police going to arrest them? Okay? How is that not going to lead to more police interactions? That's just one more thing that the police have to look out for. Okay, this person's smoking a Newport menthol. You know what? Gotta arrest them. Gotta book them. Joe Biden said you can't do it. Or an even better example. What about selling menthol cigarettes? Because they're now going to be on the black market, right? And look what happened to Eric Gardner. Allegedly, he was interacting with the police in the first place because he was accused of selling cigarettes, right? Untaxed cigarettes illegally. Okay? That's why he had interaction. So again, this is just going to increase more interactions with the police, which, because Biden is targeting black people, is going to disproportionately affect black people, criminalize black people. Okay? This is the guy that wrote the crime bill, guys. You shouldn't be surprised when he comes up with stuff like this. You're restricting freedom. That's what you're doing. Look, the government does not have the right to dictate what people can put in their bodies. I do strongly believe that, right? That's my stance when it comes to legalization. That's my stance when it comes to, certain drugs. Well, I'm just like, I don't understand why the government feels the need to do this. Like, I know that there's a healthcare cost argument, right? Like, if you have less smokers, which means you have less incidence of cancer, heart disease, negative health effects associated with smoking cigarettes, then yeah, I mean, you're probably going to lower healthcare costs for society. I 100% understand that. But at the same time, there's a trade-off between that and freedom. That's also why I'm not for universal healthcare, at least Bernie Sanders style universal healthcare in any way whatsoever, because I think at the end of the day, people have to take responsibility for their choices in terms of, what they choose to put in their bodies and their health. But they're not even making a healthcare argument. They're making a daddy government needs to tell black people what to do argument to save their lives. That's the argument that they're making here. And again, every time you ban this stuff, there's a black market that's created for it. So now you're going to have a black market of menthol cigarettes that is going to be filled by drug dealers. You're shifting money away from companies that you can regulate, okay, and products that you can regulate to products that you now can't regulate anymore because it's on a black market. And then you're going to have police going after this black market, right? That again, when it comes to menthol cigarettes, black people who tend to smoke, they tend to smoke menthol cigarettes. They tend to use menthol. Who are they going to go after? That's who they're going to go after. Because that's the only way you can enforce it. Or else you're just letting the black market just take all the profits. And I'm sure that's not Biden's intention here. Again, we're talking about cigarettes here. I mean, it is an addictive substance, the nicotine portion of it. And if people want to use menthol cigarettes, they're going to find a way to get them. Okay. So I really don't see what the positive outcome here is, because regardless of that, even let's say they can't get menthol cigarettes, are they really going to stop smoking cigarettes? I'm not sure. They'll just have to deal with smoking cigarettes that don't have menthol in them. And here's the thing. I understand the intention behind it, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I have family members that have smoked, right, and they died from lung cancer. If you've ever seen anybody have lung cancer and going through that, it's terrible, right? It is absolutely terrible. It's one of the worst things that you can see. The whole radiation, chemotherapy, all that stuff, they're suffering, okay? It's bad. It's terrible. But at the end of the day, even me having that personal experience of seeing a family member suffer from a bad decision they made to smoke cigarettes, they still made that decision, and I don't think the government has a right to ban them from doing that. And yes, I know Biden's not banning cigarettes. He's just banning the menthol flavoring. But the whole point is to try to get people to smoke less. Okay, but we already have so much education and resources out there about the negative health effects of smoking. Everybody knows that smoking is bad. Okay, it is. We have less smokers today than we had before in the past, right? It's worked to a certain extent. But those who understand the risk and want to take the risk, they take it, okay? We don't have smoking indoors anymore because, you don't want people to get exposed to secondhand smoke and things like that. Like, we already have regulations in place to help mitigate this problem. At the end of the day, people have the freedom, if they want to put dangerous substances in their body, to do that, right? It is what it is. Yes, there are going to be some negative externalities. Yes, people are going to hurt themselves. Yes, it's going to cost loved ones grief and stuff like that when family members end up suffering from it. But again, that's the cost of freedom. The cost of freedom is that, yes, some people are going to make the right decision. Some people are not. But that person has the freedom to make the decision about what they want to put in their bodies. I really do believe that because it's their life. And we know that smoking is not good for you. We know that it can cause cancer, particularly lung cancer. We know that it contributes to heart disease. We know all that stuff. But again, that does not give the government the right to say what's good for you and what's bad for you. These are the same arguments that is used to enforce these lockdowns, right? To control our lives during this pandemic. These same exact arguments are being used, right? And now they're being used to ban a flavoring of cigarettes, right? Menthol, particularly. I mean, there's no other flavors because they banned all the other ones. They're just going for menthol now. And again, to me, them doing it in the name of protecting black people is funny because, again, this is just another policy they're proposing, more government overreach in the name of social justice. And I really wish that they would stop pushing their socialist authoritarian agenda in the name of black people. Again, you're going to make people think that Biden is pushing his radical agenda solely for black people. Biden's going to go out there and when he talks about what he's done for black people, which, some black people feel like he hasn't done anything so far. He's going to say, well, I banned menthols. I tried to help prevent young black men from smoking cigarettes, right? That's what he's going to say. So, a lot of people thought that Biden's black agenda would include something economic, but instead it includes more government overreach and banning menthol cigarettes. So, hey, it is what it is. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.